We're continuing, if I can get my tongue and my teeth be in harmony with one another, we're continuing to talk about Passover. This week is Passover. Is going to be great and exciting, and here we are talking about it from the Word of Yahweh. You know, it's not something that we made up, something that we conjured up in our mind, but it's what Yahweh's Word said. And the children of Israel now are down in Egypt, and they are under great bondage, and they're crying out to Yahweh. It is so good when you as an adult or as a parent, you lay the foundation of relationship with God, so much so that when your children get into trouble, they can call on the God of their mom and their dad. And here, this is the way it was with the children of Israel. They were able to call on the God of their father, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So much so, it was such a great promise that here we are in 2012, we can call on the same God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and he had respect to his promise. He is a keeper, oh bless his holy name, of his word. Yes. He will not lie. He said by two immutable things it is impossible for him to lie. So we're reading about Israel, and we're reading about the great bondage they were under. Read for me, Deaconess Woody, in chapter Exodus chapter 3 and verse,
7 and 8. And Yahweh said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people.
I surely seen the affliction of my people,
which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters.
And heard. He's seen and heard. Seen and heard.
For I know their sorrows, and I am come down to deliver them.
Look what he said, and I've come down. That means he left his mighty throne in glory and viewed the great bondage and the great task that they were under. He saw it and he heard it. He saw it and he heard it. They cry. You know, sometimes people can, what they call it, crocodile tears, you know, or they can act like something is really, really bad and it's not that bad, you know. Well, here he looked and he looked and he heard. What he heard, he came down to see. And he came down, and what did he do?
To deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of that land unto a good land.
A good land.
With a large, and unto a land flowing with milk and honey.
Milk and honey.
Unto the place of the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Amorites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites.
Now the whole purpose of this, you know, when you begin to read, you'll find out that Moses went to Pharaoh and asked Pharaoh to let the children of Israel go, that they may keep a feast unto him, that they may go and worship Yahweh. And that's why Yahweh wants you to be free. He wants you to be free so that you can worship him. He wants you to be free so that you can obey him. Under the great task that the children of Israel was under the great bondage that they were under, they could not worship Yahweh. They could not obey Yahweh like he desired for them to. Under the great burden that you are under, you cannot obey Yahweh the way Yahweh wants you. You got to get from under that bondage. Hallelujah. And you got to worship Yahweh and obey him the way that he said. So Yahweh devised the plan. I'm so glad that Yahweh is so in tune with us. From the very beginning, the foundation of the world, he devised a plan. And he told the children of Israel he wanted them to keep the Passover. Now, Passover is such a unique and awesome festival that out of all of the festivals that there are, that is really the only one that a stranger cannot come in and keep. You can invite folk to every other holy day. You can invite folk to unleavened bread. You can invite folk to Pentecost. You can invite folk to trumpets. You can invite folk even to the Day of Atonement, even though they might not understand it altogether, but you still can invite them. And certainly you can invite them to Tabernacle and the Great and Last Day. Yes. But Passover is such a sacred time. It is such a holy event that everybody cannot come. And here, where is that, Sister Esther? I asked you to read for me.
Yes, Exodus 12, verse starting at 42.
It is a special time to Yahweh's people. Read for me, Sister Esther.
It is the night to be much observed.
Much observed.
Unto the Lord for bringing them out of the land of Egypt. This is that night of the Lord to be observed of all the children of Israel in their generations. And the Lord said unto Moses and Aaron, this is the ordinance of the Passover. There shall no stranger eat
No stranger can eat thereof the Passover with you. So much so that Yahweh said, if the lamb be too big for your family, go get another part of Israel, another family of Israel, and you two come together and y'all eat. He didn't say go get a stranger. And if a stranger unites and decide they want to keep the Passover with you, from that day forth, they cannot go back to their regular services. They cannot go back to do what they used to do. You got to stick with Yahweh. You got to stay with Yahweh. You can't intermingle and blend in all type of religions with this Passover. Israel was under great bondage, and they cried to Yahweh and asked Yahweh to deliver them. How someone who don't even understand why they're in bondage, don't even understand why Yahweh's bringing them out, how they're going to enjoy and delight in the Passover with you. So much so, Passover was such a sacred time that the scripture said that they were to have their coats, have their shoes on, and ready to depart out of Egypt. Yes. How is somebody who don't know what coming out of sin, coming out of bondage is all about, going to sit and enjoy the Passover with you? A stranger cannot do that. Please read, Sister Esther.
But every man, verse 44, but every man's servant that is bought for money, when thou hast circumcised him, then shall he eat thereof.
Yes.
A foreigner and a hired servant shall not eat thereof. In one house shall it be eaten. Thou shalt not carry forth out of the flesh abroad out of the house, neither shall he break a bone thereof. And all the congregation of Israel shall keep it. And when a stranger shall sojourn with thee, and will keep the Passover to the Lord, let all his males be circumcised, and let him come near and keep it. And he shall be as one that is born in the land.
You see that?
He shall be as one that is born in the land, for no uncircumcised person shall eat thereof.
Now we invite you. We will invite you to the other holy days, but we can't invite you to Passover because it is a sacred time. It is a time that Yahweh comes and He makes His abode with you. It is a time that you are able to lay down. Talking about, I'm going to lay down my burdens down by the riverside. Honey, this is a time that you can lay them down. This is a time that you can be free. This is a time that you and your family really come together and understand what the call of Yahweh is. This is the time where you lay hold to the promise that He made to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and then at the end of that, you can put your name there. He made the promise to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and the Smothers family. You understand what I'm talking about? So you say, this is the promise, Yahweh, that you made to me, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and whatever your last name is, you apply it there. But you can't allow a stranger to come in and see what you're all about and what this festival is all about. It's a sacred time. It's between you and Yahweh. Read for me.
Verse 49. One law shall be to him that is homeborn, and unto the stranger that sojourneth among you.
Now, if a stranger comes and wants to keep Passover with you, again, from that day forth, they cannot go back to their old lifestyle. In other words, they can't go back to Sunday. They can't go back to breaking the Sabbath. They can't go back Y'all know what they can't go back to. Because y'all know what we are. So you understand what I'm talking about? All right. Now, read for me.
We are now at verse 50.
All right. We're going to read verse 50 together. Sister Esther and Deaconess Woody.
Thus did all the children of Israel, and the Lord commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they. And it came to pass the selfsame day that the Lord did bring the children of Israel.
About the Lord. Come on now, read it like we know.
Verse 50. Thus did all the children of Israel, as Yahweh commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they. And it came to pass the same day that Yahweh did bring the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt by their armies.
By their armies. Yahweh brought them out. And you know what Israel was saying, just like us black folks said, free at last, free at last. Thank Yahweh Almighty, we're free at last. Passover is a wonderful time. It is a time that you can get your family together. It is a time that you can start anew. It is a time that you can really apply the word of Yahweh to your life. Talking about starting over, talking about starting new. Passover is it. That's when Yahweh, he allowed the death angel to pass over Israel, yes. And because the Egyptians wanted to kill them. But Yahweh allowed the blood to be over the doorposts. And there is blood over the doorposts of the children of Israel today. There is a blood over the children of Israel, us, Yahweh's people today. And we don't have to give event to Satan, the devil, to the enemy, because we come out of Egypt and we come out with a glorious show. We come out with our hands up and we come out saying,
there is absolutely, positively no reason for you to be confused. All you need to do is